Facebook, the trees that Ida B was talking to said that something bad was going to happen, and we just found out that her mom had cancer. So I think that this is what a bad thing is going to happen, and it seems like a pretty big amount of cancer, and she's had to go to the hospital and have a lot of surgery. So I think that's what the trees were talking about, not just the storm that they said.
They said that the cancer was spreading and that she was having trouble and she was really tired and she was getting weaker. So I think that she's gonna become weaker and weaker from the cancer, and it's just gonna.
I agree with Annie and Jill. It's been hard. It says here that it's hard to say. It's hard for her mom just to say hi to her, and so I agree. This is what the trees were talking about when they said bad news. It wasn't going to be the storm. I think that's why the parents weren't talking about the storm as much as they thought they would be. So I think this is what the bad news was.
I agree with Annie because trees said something bad was gonna happen, but they didn't say something bad was gonna happen to the mom or anything. But so they Jill said it's spreading and she's getting weaker and stuff. So that's not good.
So if she doesn't die, then I think that they were just protecting Ida B because they didn't want her to be super upset and everything, and they didn't want her to be super worried.
Another thing I think is that they want her to be happy and stuff because she's kind of going through hard times. So when she was hating kindergarten so much, they probably wanted her to be more happy and not have to go to kindergarten, just be homeschooled. Because if she's having a really bad time in kindergarten and she finds out her mom has cancer, she's just gonna have a really sad life, and it'll be very hard for her.
I think I agree with Annie that pulling her out of school was probably had to go along with this. I actually think that it might be because there's a good chance of her maybe not living because the cancer is spreading so fast, and I think they just wanted her to spend as much time as she could with her family as their whole family, not just a couple.
Like what you said, Emily, maybe she's homeschooled because she didn't like her school and because she wants to spend as much time as she can with her mom in case she dies or something. So she's trying to just make the best out of what she has, I guess.
So I think that she's just trying to be since the mom, since she has cancer, I think that Ida B, she's become weaker and weaker, and I think that Ida B, she's just gonna the story's just gonna, how stories in the end, how they because they how they have happy endings. I think that her story's gonna get worse, and she's gonna have to go back to school. Her mom's gonna get sick, and I think there's gonna be a very good ending.
So on the cover it says Ida B and her plans to maximize fun, avoid disaster, and possibly save the world. I think maybe the save the world part might have something to do with her mom having cancer. And avoiding disaster, trying to the maximizing fun, making sure she has enough time with her mom and it can be a fun time. Avoiding disaster, trying to avoid the cancer, and possibly saving the world, possibly saving her mom from cancer.
I agree with you, Emily. It says here, avoid disaster. I think when the tree told her that there's going to be a disaster or something like that, or a storm, I think she's trying to prevent whatever is going to happen from happening. So.
I actually think Ida B doesn't doesn't realize that this is kind of a big deal. I mean, she knows it's bad, but I don't think she realizes that it's spreading and it's getting worse and her mom's getting weaker. So I think it's going to be really hard for Ida B when she finally realizes that her mom isn't doing that well and that she might eventually die.
I politely, and I say politely, disagree with Annie because I think that she does realize that her mom has cancer because she's not like her perky self like she was. She's not like telling Ida B what to do, which I think she sort of misses that about her mom, and I think she'll want to make sure that her mom is comforted when she's not feeling well, and she'll be there to like sort of comfort her and nurture her.
I kind of meant like she knows she has cancer, but she doesn't realize how bad it really is because she isn't, and I know she's trying to like act normal around her mom even though she knows she's kind of sick, but I don't think she realizes that it's spreading a lot and that her mom is getting it.
I agree with that.
I think that her mom is going to get worse, but I think that like even if something does like happen that's really bad, like the tree said that something really bad's gonna happen, I think that she's gonna like bring herself up and she's gonna like make like the most of it, and it says and her plans to maximize fun. I think she's just like trying to make fun happen even in the worst times.
Okay, so on the back of the book it says there are too many things to think about in the world besides what I'm going to have for lunch, and I think maybe this happens around the time in the middle of when the mom is having cancer. So I think she's trying to think about what she can do to help the situation, help her mom, help her dad, help their family sort of get through this rough time. And I think like she doesn't want to think about what she's having for lunch. She used to overthink it. She used to just have the same thing over and over again. But I think she's sort of now just gonna go, okay, I don't have to think about having the same thing for lunch every day. I'm gonna have to think about what I do for my family.
Like what you said, what was I gonna say? Like, she has to think about something like other than herself. Like she's trying not to be like selfish. Like you said, this is what I have for lunch and stuff. And yeah, so
Go to Jill and then come back to me.
Back in the book, it says that the trees, like, she says a lot of bad things have happened to her. Like, she didn't like school, she doesn't have many friends, she doesn't get notes back. But she really needs, and now this, so I think this is going to be a very depressing book, but yeah.
I think it's sort of like a prediction, but I think what's going to happen is that while this is happening, she is going to get a note back, and I think it'll sort of help her get through it because she's finally like realizing that, okay, not all things are bad, and even though her mom does have cancer, she'll be able to get through it, getting a note back, and trying new things and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like I think now in the book she thinks of things, like she thinks of the cup half empty instead of half full, but then like Emily said, she gets a note back. I think she's going to get a note back and then she's going to think of it, well, not everything's really bad, so and then it's going to be, she's going to think of the cup half full instead of half empty.
Okay. I agree with Jill. I also think that during this time, she'll take her time away from the trees and the brook, and she'll sort of be focusing on her parents. And to go along with what Jill said, like earlier, I think that maybe some things will get better during the book. She said it was going to be a depressive book. I think things will become better. Her mom will get better. Did you tell me